guys? Welcome to my channel, and welcome to Scary Story Saturdays. I almost said Spooky Scary Saturdays, but I meant to say Scary Story Saturdays. Welcome, and I'm surprised that you guys are managed to be watching these, or basically listening to these stories and this video. Now, before we get into the video, just want a disclaimer to let you guys know the things I would be reading can and will disturb you, and I'm going by YouTube guidelines. Now, if this were a film, yes, I would be restricted, but I'm not going to restrict or go against YouTube's guidelines. So I'm going to be bringing these stories from my computer, which I have set my phone on right there, and we're going to get to the first two stories. First two stories are called Anthony, as you can tell by my name. But this story is not about me. It's about a character with the same name as mine. Now, to be honest, I did take this story from someone else, but I did not fully copy the story. I just took the example from that story and turned it to one of my own with the same character name and changed it up. So, just to let you guys know. But the rest of the other stories are the ones that I have made and created. And I even have 2 true stories. So let's get this over with. So the first story is called Anthony. And here we go. Fasten your seats, get some snacks, get some drinks, turn out the lights, and let's begin. This story took place in the year 2016. I was only 16 years old at the time. It was a Monday morning, and I was doing my casual routine, waking up, getting ready for school, and all that mess. It was 6:30 a.m., and I had to be at school by 8. So I called my friend Anthony and asked him if his dad could bring us to school. He said that his father was okay with it, and I was sitting on my porch waiting for my friend's dad to come pick me up. After 2 minutes of waiting, they arrived. I got in the car, and we were on the way to the high school. We arrived on time, which was a huge relief for me. My friend Anthony asked me if I had any plans for the weekend, and I said, "No, I don't. Do you?" And Anthony said, "Well, my dad is going on a business trip later tonight, and I was thinking that if you don't have anything to do after school, we could hang out at my place for the night." I agreed with him, but I was still considering the decision of going to his house. Throughout the entire day, I have made my decision and decided to go to his house for the night. It was time for us to be dismissed for the day, and we were just waiting outside for Anthony's dad to come pick us up again, and in the meantime, we were just talking about girls and every other thing a teenage boy would talk about. It was 5:30 p.m., and I told my mom I was going to Anthony's house to study, even though I had already had my homework done, and I just wanted to go to Anthony's house and hang out. I texted Anthony about if his dad has left the house yet. He said that he left at his house 2 hours ago. So it turns out we were going to have a fun night. I walked toward the bus stop and waited there for at least an hour, and finally the bus showed up. I hopped on the bus and was sitting in the front seat. After 4 minutes, I was at the bus stop where Anthony's neighborhood would be, and paid the bus driver on my way out. I walked on St. Bernard Street for 2 hours, and then walked down on Lewis Avenue for 10 minutes. And soon enough, I was at my friend's house. I walked up to the porch and knocked on the door. My friend Anthony opened the door and let me inside. We went on the couch and started to play Call of Duty games and ate junk food for a few minutes until we got bored and started to prank call restaurants. And when it was my turn, Anthony handed me the phone and I dialed a random number. And after a minute, someone picked up the phone. The voice on the phone was deep and raspy, and one of the lamest jokes I could think of was the old refrigerator joke. "Sir, is your refrigerator running?" And then the guy says, "Who is this?" And stupidly, my name Charles. I said, my name is Charles. And then the guy said, "Are you sure it is not Anthony?" As soon as he said that, I hung up the phone and looked at Anthony. I said, "Anthony, who was that?" And Anthony said, "I don't know." I was paranoid and told Anthony to check the windows while I went to lock the doors. As I was heading towards Anthony to check the windows while I went on to lock the doors, As I was heading towards the back door, Anthony called me over to look out the window in the dining room, and as soon as I pulled down the blinds, I saw a man with a hood over his face, so I couldn't see what he looked like. He was looking for a way in until I saw his head move face towards the dining room window. I told my friend to turn out the lights and hide in the kitchen while I went to lock the back door. But as soon as I went in the middle of the hallway, I saw a silhouette of a head on the window. I stood still and realized that he was looking through the window to see if we were in here. So I went back to the kitchen and told Anthony to walk with me up the stairs and hide in his room under his bed. As we went to his room, we shut the door and hid underneath his bed. As we were under the bed, we could hear footsteps coming from the stairwell until it stopped in front of the bedroom door. The guy entered the room and was looking for us by smashing and crashing everything in his room. Anthony's heavy breathing was going to blow our hiding spot, so I covered his mouth with my hand, and things were quiet, but the next thing I heard still haunts me to this day. I saw Anthony being dragged from under the bed along with a blood-curdling scream. I got out from under the bed and saw the guy put Anthony in the chokehold. He was very tall, and he looked like he was in his 30s. I was frantically looking for a weapon to use against the guy. Luckily, I found a screwdriver right beside the nightstand and stabbed the guy in the back. The guy releases Anthony while he screams in agony. I took the opportunity to take Anthony and ran down the stairs out the back door and ran for the woods and hid behind the bushes. I looked up from the bushes and saw the guy running towards the forest, and we started to run deeper into the woods until we lost track of the rustling of the leaves behind us. We dug down behind the bushes. Then we listened to the footsteps getting closer, but then everything stopped. And then we heard leaves rustling on the other side of us and started to make a run for the house. We kept running until I heard footsteps coming from behind us, and we ran faster than ever until we reached the house and locked the back door. I looked through the window to see if the guy was still there while Anthony called the police. I saw the silhouette of the guy coming out of the forest, but then he ran away from sight as soon as the police came. When the officers went to question us, we told them what the guy looked like, and as we were talking to the police, I saw my mom coming towards me and hugged me, and I told her everything was okay. And then the police contacted Anthony's father, and we heard about this. Anthony was grounded for 2 weeks, but after that, we started to hang out again. It has been 6 years since that incident, and the police still didn't catch the guy. So from now on, we kept our doors locked. And I hope you guys do the same. And kids, please don't prank call on random people, because one day you can get you or your best friend killed. And that's a good message, guys. Don't try prank calling. There has been a lot of things going on the internet lately, including a ton of threats, a ton of things going on, especially in the deepest, darkest places of the internet. So please be careful and be mindful of what you're doing on the internet. Because once you do something, and I admit I have done some things, and I have gotten in trouble for it, just be careful. Because one day you can get yourself, and you can get anyone around you that you love and cared about. And it's a bad situation. The next story is called The Nightmare. Now, the nightmare is basically what I have dreamt about in my previous moment when I had it. So, this story is based on a true thing that happened to me. So, it's going to be shorter, but it will also explain what happens. So, let's begin. This just recently happened, and this was one of the most disturbing and weird things that happened to me. It was a Wednesday night, and I was getting ready to go to bed. I got into my PJs and started to go into my bed and started to watch YouTube on my smart TV. After a few minutes of watching YouTube, I turned off the TV and went to sleep. This is when it happened. I can only give little details because it was so long ago. So bear with me here, okay? I was in the dining room of some sort in some kind of house that I had no idea where I was. I was sitting at a table with 4 people that I didn't know, and I couldn't see their faces. All of a sudden, I asked to go use the restroom, and left from the table. And as I walked down the hallway, that seemed somehow familiar to me. I went into the bathroom to wash my hands. A few minutes later, there was nothing but silence. Then I heard screaming from the dining room. I opened the door and ran towards the dining room, and at the end of the hallway, As soon as I got that's when things started to get eerie for me. In the room, there was a lot of blood scattered across the room, and the people that I was eating with are all somehow murdered and dismembered, which freaked me out when I looked onto the table. Their heads were set as if they were put there, or they were just there to wait for me to get into the room. After that, I woke up sweating as if I ran through a marathon. Ever since that happened to me, I talked to my grandparents, or basically my guardians, about it, and they said that it could be that I was watching a lot of spooky videos or movies, but I didn't watch anything scary that night, but I took it as a reason. I continued to sleep well after that and never encountered it since. Alright, guys, so that's the end of today's I just said, Scary Stories Saturdays. If you like this stuff, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Also, guys, be careful what you say on my channel, because if I see any bad comments, anything I see, I would restrict you, and I would also delete your comments, and I would also remove your comments from my page and channel. But if you're posting positive comments, be prepared, because I will be making shoutouts to positive comments. Also, if you are thinking about doing something for Halloween, comment down below. If not, just tell us what you're going to do anyway. So, subscribe my channel, like it, follow me, and follow me on YouTube, and I will continue making these videos and do so. Goodbye, guys.